Matthew Nicol was murdered March 3rd, 2021, almost 3 years ago, with his faithful dog Mako, and all have not been to trial. And I keep getting these same questions over and over. Let's take a look at them. Whose trial is coming up is one. Who has had a mistrial? What is a mistrial? Why is it taking so long? What is the status hearing and docket sounding? Has anyone been convicted yet? Who has pled guilty? What were they given and why? Is Chase Harrison and Brian Vogel's hearings on their drug charges holding everything up? And how much time are they each facing going to prison? The first question, who is on trial, would be Brian Vogel, Chase Harrison, Corey Cavanis, Anthony Davila. The next question is who has had a mistrial? That was none other than Anthony Davila. His mistrial was such a mess, I had to make a video about it because there is so much going on. I'll leave a link in the descriptions down below so you can check it out. The next question is, what is a mistrial? A mistrial is basically a do-over, and the state can have as many do-overs as they want till they say no, and that way they're not violating the double jeopardy rule in the Constitution. But nonetheless, with Anthony Davila, that's what happened. All the jurors could not find a unanimous guilty or not guilty vote, despite violating the law and using the proceedings as a protest to state law. The next question I hear every time somebody writes to me is, why is it taking so long? It is called due process, and this allows the defense attorney to get a continuance, to look up for more information, look for more witnesses, maybe some better character witnesses for his client, but it's afforded to the client under the Constitution. I included this question, what is the status hearing and docket sounding? So if you happen to go to the clerk of the court and look up these files, you can understand what they are and what is going on. Status hearing is pretty much a meeting of the minds. The judge, the prosecutor, and the defense attorney all get together and discuss how the case is progressing. A docket sounding is a last-ditch effort with the attorneys meeting. That's the prosecution defense meeting with the judge to talk about plea agreements or continuances or set a trial date. It's one of those three things that's going on. Remember the question of why do things take so long? And I said it was due process, and I followed up with what's a status hearing and what's a docket sounding. Well, I'd like to show you how they are, and this is pertaining to Corey Cavanis' case. And so you see for status hearing, he's had 12 of them in 3 years. I guess it's not bad, but nonetheless, that's the meeting of the minds. Remember, that's the judge, the prosecution, and the defense attorney. Hey, where are we going? What's the direction of it? But you can see all these different dates that this is for one court case to come up, and it's just crazy. But that's, so there's actually, it says 12 out of 20, and the reason for that is down below, it's relisted in the summarization. In other words, these are listed up here. Nonetheless, so let's go for the docket sounding. And remember that what the docket sounding, the docket sounding is for 10 to 14 days prior to trial. This is this docket. Where are we at? What do we need? Are you pleading to anything? Do you want to go to trial? Or do you need a continuance? And so we've had 40 instances of it. 3 years, 40 instances of it. Well, it's less than 3 years, but anyway, so you see it's just littered. And of course you go down here to summarization, you see it, I think there's like what, 25, 40, let's see, 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anyway, there's 25 of them. 25 of them. But anyway, so you'll see it's sounding hearings. In this one right here in particular, 423, it looks like there was a status hearing. Went to this status hearing went to 8:30, and here's one at 8 o'clock, then at 8:30, and another at 8:30, and to a docket sounding. So I'm not sure if there were, it would just be a meeting of the mind, so I'm not too sure what it means. But anyway, you get a big picture of the stall tactics. Now, the docket sounding 10 to 14 days prior to a trial, that's when the docket sounding is holding. So the state is pushing forward and trying to get this to go to trial. Unfortunately, and it's a right afforded to everybody that's been accused of anything, is your right for due process and to have continuance for more information for whatever reason. You're afforded that right under the Constitution, and I just wanted to show you that. The docket sounding, I thought the defendant had to show up every time, but it's not so, because if I go to what is this last docket sounding, and we look at it, thanks, and we'll look at it, and it says counsel was present and waived presence of defendant. The case was heard. Case is continued by the defendant, not by the defendant, but by counsel for the defendant. Anyway, so you get an understanding of how the stall tactics, the continuances are granted, and how long it can really drag out a case. And it's incredibly painful for the victim's family to see this, because it's a hope of, I want closure. I'm sure they want closure on it, and with these continuances, when is it going to end? They constantly have to relive this over and over again, and my heart goes out to the Nicol family. But if you are watching this, just remember, justice will be served. Has anyone been convicted yet? Well, yes, that would be David Foreman-Taylor and Tyler Graffing. Has anyone been convicted yet? Well, yes, that's Tyler Graffing and David Foreman-Taylor. On April 6, 2022, David Foreman-Taylor pled guilty to second-degree murder and armed burglary of a dwelling and cruelty to animals. On May 17, 2022, Tyler Graffing pled guilty to armed burglary of a dwelling. This question was directed at who pled guilty, what were they given, and why. David Foreman-Taylor got a slap on the wrist when his charges were dropped to second-degree murder and armed burglary of a dwelling resulting in death. He was given 15 years in prison and 15 years of probation. This is probably from his overwhelming amount of information that he gave to investigators that helped break the case wide open. The biggest slap on the wrist was given to the state star witness, Tyler Graffing. That's when all charges were dropped except for armed burglary of a dwelling, and he was given 3 years in prison and 3 years of probation. I guess all those 116 pages of documents and information he gave to investigators paid off. So in terms of who said what and when they said it, and did it let them get off any easier, I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, this is the affidavit for arrest warrant. And this will show who said what and when, or so you might think. So scroll all the way down. I don't want to show the details of that. It's got everything about what happened. I don't want to harm the family of Matthew Nicol. They've been through enough. But anyway, on March 4th, 2021, David Emerson Taylor provided detailed confession to his involvement in the homicide of Matthew Nicol. Well, let's scroll down, because then it says right here, a week later, on May 11, 2021, a sworn recorded interview was conducted with Tyler Graffing, where he further corroborated the statement provided by David Foreman-Taylor. Not so sure that it was on May 11th that the police were actually talking to him, and I'll show you why. Let's take a closer look at what Tyler Graffing said to investigators in that 116-page document that he gave up. So when we look at the documents and dates, it might seem that Tyler talked to investigators a week later. Remember, David Foreman-Taylor came clean on the 4th of, May? And then we look at this day. Here's May 11th, 2 p.m. And that's the interview, state's attorney interview of Tyler Graffing. But look who's with him. Attorneys Brian Onick and Kevin Maughan. Those are defense attorneys. And there's Don Reynolds and Carmen Minthorn from the Broward County Sheriff's Office. Those are from the Sheriff's Office. And there's the state's attorney's office, Bill Rizpez, and Assistant State Attorney Michael Hunt. And they're there too for this interview. I'm pretty sure that these guys just don't hang around at the drop of hat to go run over there by 2 p.m. and say, hey, let's meet and talk to this guy. I would guarantee you that this has taken a week for them to get together, and that little Tyler's been dropping some nickels and dimes himself. But, not for nothing, he has given the most detailed information to date about what transpired and with the case, how it developed. He admits his own involvement. He admits helping the planner from the very, very beginning. The next question is Chase Harrison and Brian Vogel's hearing on their drug charges holding everything up? Absolutely not. No way can it hold up. One can't hold up the other. They're in two entirely different cases. The docket sounding have the same date for both the murder trial and the drug charges is just a coincidence. I figure while he's there, they're going to bring him over only one time, and they'll have a meeting of the minds of what's happening. This is a big one. How much time are they each facing going to prison? Each one of them is being charged with first-degree murder. That charge alone is life in prison with no chance for parole in the state of Florida. Let's say they get them all dropped down to second-degree murder or manslaughter, whatever. It doesn't matter. For people like Anthony Davila, he's been convicted of a felony within 5 years of committing this. That alone satisfies the 3 strikes law, and that means life in prison, no chance for parole. It does not matter. I hope the rest of them get the same thing. Life with no chance for parole. It's kind of hitting me right now is that Matthew Nicol, the victim, is sort of getting lost in all of this stuff with these guys and what they're going through and the trouble they're in. Let's not forget that Matthew is the victim. Yeah, that's right. Matthew and his dog Mako, they're the victims. And these are the only pictures that I have of him. Otherwise, I'd show a heck of a lot more. Now, Matthew had a bunch of friends, a loving family, and everybody said that Matthew was a wonderful guy, funny, charismatic, just great to be around. And I didn't want to let his life get lost in all of this. He will have justice one day. The sooner, the better. If you have any information pertaining to this case and want it released anonymously, I can do that for you. Just send it to my email in the description below. Thank you.